Bruce Farrell.
Your home for Hannity each afternoon at 3 p.m. Talk 96.3 and 103.7. Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
Getting a vaccine remains a top priority.
I trust vaccines. I trust scientists.
Science.
But I don't trust Trump.
I'm calling on Biden to stop promoting his anti-vaccine theories. Does anybody want to have
Antifa
as a member of your suburb? I don't think so.
Hijacking our cities across the nation.
They are violent leftist thugs.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It is News and Views. Tom Lamprecht, Benny Hardy. Lots to talk about. Parents with young kids across the state are doing a dance this afternoon as North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper announced earlier today that school districts can reopen elementary schools for full-time daily in-person instruction. Cooper announced that elementary schools can reopen under a minimal social distancing plan that allows all students to be on campus every day. Cooper said that the state's coronavirus metrics have improved enough to erase restrictions on elementary schools. You know, they're just about where they need to be to completely reopen. I mean, from what they said early on, the numbers are there. And they keep saying we're all about science and, you know, we've got to reach certain metrics and, well, you're reaching them. Are we going to completely reopen? The science of lower viral spread among younger children also backs up this decision, Cooper said Thursday. Coop, we've been saying this for months now. I mean, literally for months, that little kids can't get it. And if they do get it, it's no effect to them. And they're not real good at spreading it.
Well, you know, the science has been saying that for months. The CDC has said that. I mean, the CDC themselves has said that they should go back to school.
So what are the polling numbers telling you, Coop? That's what I really want to know. Not what the science is telling you. What are the polling numbers telling you? Because I think that's more influence on you right now than the science.
Follow the polls. Right?
Follow the polls. The announcement comes as a growing number of parents and Republican politicians have demanded elementary schools offer daily in-person classes. Critics have argued that online classes are not helping young students. They're not. I mean, and basically, I've got grandchildren. Basically, the online classes are the dissemination of what to do. It's not really instruction. It's not like if you're taking a college online class, you're sitting there listening to the lecture for the full 50 minutes. That's not what's happening with online elementary school education. They're getting together, they say, okay, do these assignments, and we'll see you tomorrow. Cooper said middle schools and high schools are subject to his moderate social distancing requirements that limit how many people can be on campus. The capacity limits are a major reason why many school districts are still only offering online classes for the start of the school year. It is not immediately clear whether school districts will take advantage of the reopening option for elementary schools. I would think that the pressure will now come down to the district superintendents and the principals. It will shift from Cooper down to the local districts, unless the districts go ahead and decide to open. I mean, my thought would be go ahead and decide to open. If parents have reservations about it, that would be their choice at that point. Cooper said he expects the school districts will need time to plan and won't immediately reopen. The state's largest liberal teachers group, was not happy with the decision. The NCAE normally is vocally supportive of Cooper, not on this one. Elementary schools will still need to follow the rules, such as requiring face coverings be worn and having students and staff pass daily temperature checks and health screenings. This is science and research based on this is science and research-based decision, not an opinion, Mandy Cohen said. Blah, 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 blah. Cohen cited how younger children are less risk of transmitting the virus, and, of course, they don't get sick. And again, we've known this for months. Thank you for catching up with conservatives on this. On Wednesday, Republicans put pressure on Cooper to give students in the state's public K through 12 school system the option of going back to in-person full-time learning. I don't think it was the Republicans putting pressure on Cooper that made him change his mind. I am fully convinced that there was polling numbers out there. He is seeing Dan Forest numbers rise, and he is seeing some sort of internal polling that they are doing that says, Coop, they're not real happy with you. Also today, parents of North Carolina State University football players delivered a petition to the governor's office. They are a little ticked that outdoor-sized gatherings are limited to 50 people. These are the football players' parents at NC State. So you've got a stadium that holds 50,000. I mean, you could have one person in each section, and you could have more than 50 people there. And they're going to limit them to 50 people in NC State Stadium.
That was unbelievable. You know,
it doesn't even pass any kind of smell test. It's so stupid.
This had to be just a control issue with him when he was approached. You know what? East Carolina, UNC, 4 or 5 of the universities in North Carolina approached him last weekend about that and denied it. I mean, that just has to be a control issue with him because it makes no sense at all. They should not have granted that.
Well, there is, and we've said this before, there is this authoritarianism. They're just fascinated, and I don't know if it's a part of the talking points that they're handed, that you need to be an authoritarian and just make the people follow you. Let's see how far we can push them. I'm not sure what the deal is, but you know, it's interesting. William Barr came out and said, you know, we might charge some of these rioters with sedition, which is a fancy word for saying you're trying to overthrow the federal government. And one of the Democratic governors said, well, that sounds like authoritarianism to me. And the irony is, look at the authoritarianism of all these Democratic mayors and governors across the country. When it comes to COVID, they want to shut everything down. When it comes to arresting the protesters, they don't want to do a thing. And I've got more on that we'll get to. Yesterday, Dan Forest came out and was talking about the fact that at that press conference about how if he is elected governor, he is going to lift the face mask requirement. It was back on June 26th that Cooper instituted a statewide face mask mandate. That if you're out in public, you're supposed to be wearing a face mask. Now, I understand when you go into a retail store, and again, if there's a sign on the door on the retail store and they say mask required, I put my mask on because that is someone's private business, and if I want to go in there, that's a privilege that I can have, and so I need to obey the rules. But when I'm out in the parking lot, that mask comes off, and you know what? I don't see a lot of people outside of the retail store setting wearing the mask that Cooper is demanding. I mean, maybe I'm walking in the wrong circles, but I don't see a lot of people bowing down to Coop on this. But we'll see where it goes.
I was on the road this morning up in northeastern North Carolina, and we were where I was. Felt like miles from the nearest house, and a guy passes me. He's by himself wearing a mask, and I was, you know,
in his car by himself.
In his car by himself. I just don't quite understand that one, but
yeah, I gives me claustrophobia or something. I'm not I'm a fan of the face mask. Let me ask you: when you were out there in the country, I noticed this. I was coming back. Some back roads, not too far from Greenville, but further out in the country, 10 miles away. Do you notice when you're outside of the Greenville area, and I'm sure we've got a lot of callers all throughout eastern North Carolina listen to us, but it seems like the further out in the country you are, the more Trump signs you see.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, part of it is when you're in Greenville, you're in this liberal area where there's a university, and again, I've told this story before, but when Pat McCrory was running, I can't remember if it was the first or the second time. Fortunately, I was driving my older car, but I had a Pat McCrory bumper sticker on the car, and I got keyed, and I'm sure it was connected to the bumper sticker. So I mean, that might be one of the reasons why you don't see as many in Greenville. But when you get outside of the metropolitan areas, I don't see any Biden signs, but I see a lot of Trump signs.
No, I don't. And I was vacationing in the mountains in July. Spent some time in Tennessee on a fishing trip, and just over the border. And Tennessee is solid Trump. I don't think Trump needs to bother going to Tennessee. Every single yard had massive Trump flags and signs, and so and pretty much all of Western North Carolina was that way, except when you get into Boone, Asheville, the metro areas.
Areas in which there's a state university is going to be sort of this liberal, I don't want to call it an oasis because that would have a good connotation to it, but liberal swamp, how's that? FBI Director Chris Wray appeared at the House Homeland Security Committee hearing today and stated that Antifa, however you like to pronounce it, is a real thing. Now, remember, in fact, I played this clip of Jerry Nadler earlier this summer. Jerry Nadler was in Washington, D.C. Somebody stopped him to ask him about what he thought of Antifa, and Jerry Nadler said, "Oh, that's a myth. That's a myth." And nobody believes that outside of Washington, D.C. That's just a myth. Chris Wray made it clear that Antifa is not made up. It's not a right-wing conspiracy theory, and the FBI has cases involving those connected to it. Appearing at the committee hearing today, Wray explained that while Antifa is not an organization in the traditional sense, it is a movement, and there have been suspects who claim to be a part of it. Quote, Antifa is a real thing. It's not a group or organization. It's a movement. It's an ideology, maybe one way of thinking of it. And we have quite a number, and I've said this quite consistently since my first time appearing before this committee, we have any number of properly predicated investigations into what we would describe as violent anarchist extremists, and some of those individuals self-identify as Antifa. Well, I'm glad we are starting to come out and say what the rest of us have thought and known from simple observation. Is this a surprise to anybody? I mean, it's refreshing to hear Christopher Wray come out and say it, but I mean, haven't you thought that this was the case for as long as you've heard about Antifa? I mean, going back a couple of years back when they were over in what was the university in California, when they were protesting every time some conservative would show up to speak.
That's probably just any university in California, but it was at Berkeley. It was Cal Berkeley.
Yeah, it was Cal Berkeley. Yeah.
The thing with Antifa and these riots and protests. This was all happened during the financial crisis back in 2008, 2009. The Occupy Wall Street.
Right. Yeah.
These groups are taking advantage when there's an opportunity, a window of a crisis. They siege on it, and this has nothing to do. Anytime anyone's life is taken, whether it's it's part of their own fault or not their fault, is bad. But these organizations have taken advantage of this. They're being funded by people, and the fact that well,
that's what the Marxist movement has done for decades and decades. They'll come in and they say, well, okay, the liberalism within unions. Hear me clearly. I'm not saying every union member is a communist. I'm not saying that at all. But they will come in and they will find something that they think they can get the masses to go with them on, and they'll begin to push it to undermine the status quo.
Yeah, and the fact that corporate and institutional America is falling for this is just amazing to me. It's amazing that they're falling for this, and they're afraid to being called a racist is what it boils down to. And this movement is being taken. Black Lives Matter movement has never been about anything other than a Marxist movement in America.
I've got a theory, and the theory is this: that and if we had time to peel back the layers of the onion, I think I'd be proved correct on this. The corporate America that embraces the liberalism, that just bends over and lays down for these liberal causes, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, whatever. They are run by CEOs, the people at the top, that are running these corporations were not the people that started these corporations. They were not the people that have actually had to roll up their shirt sleeves and live through years of meeting the payroll, barely making ends meet, finally making the company a success. When those people are still at the top, they're not going to embrace this. Case in point is, what's the guy's name that owns FedEx? He started it. He's still the head of it, and he's very conservative. But if you find a company where this guy was basically just, okay, here are the keys to the company. You run it for me now. Here's your $1 million salary or whatever it is. They have a tendency, the ones that don't have the hard years of sweat equity built into the company are more apt to fall. I'm not saying they all do, but are more apt to fall in that category of we're going to drop our drawers for Black Lives Matter. Pardon the expression. We got to take a time out. There is some incredible polling on how America feels about Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and not good for the Democrats. And as a result, Nancy Pelosi is changing her tune. We'll have that when we get back.
Jim Clement from Town Insurance is with me in the studio. Jim, this has been an interesting time for everyone. What has Town Insurance done differently during the crisis?
First, Henry, we've tried to put our people first, make sure that they're safe in their working environment, and we've been able to adopt a policy where people are working remotely from home on a rotational basis. Secondly, we've got to be realistic about the situation we're dealing with. We're all being impacted one way or the other by this pandemic, and we've got to acknowledge the reality of the situation and try to stay positive for our employees as well as our clients.
You work with a lot of different insurance carriers, Jim. What are they doing for your clients right now?
Each of these carriers is trying to establish what is the new normal, and that means being flexible in payments and being adaptable to change.
You guys are the best, Jim. We appreciate your information and what you're doing for your clients right now. For more information, call Town Insurance at 252-756-8300. And as Jim always says,
it's time to come to town.
When you need to hire a mover, call the A-Team, Advanced Moving and Storage, the Ace Movers of Eastern North Carolina. We do everything we can to make a move less stressful for you and your family. Everything from buying your things in your house if you're downsizing to taking you across the country. We do it all.
For 27 years, Advanced Moving and Storage has provided local, intrastate, and interstate moving for our residential and commercial clients.
We offer short and long-term storage. We also offer moving services for pianos, gun safes. We can move it all.
10 years ago, we started a sister company, the Loose Goose. We purchase things that you don't want anymore. We do anything we can to make it easier for you.
So come by and check us out at Advanced Moving and the Loose Goose.
We're located on Four Lines Road in Winterville, turn beside Harbor Freight and Harley Davidson.
Remember, call the A-Team, 252-321-3200.
252-321-3200.
You know it's easy. Buying a Toyota with Massey Toyota's Easy Pass. You can save time when you start your deal online from the comfort of your own home or office. There's no runaround, just great prices and great service. When you shop online at Massey Toyota, you get our best prices. Plus, you can value your trade and get pre-approved quickly and easily. We'll even deliver your Toyota right to your door. Small town, big savings since 1938. Massey Toyota in Kinston.
Ottavola in Greenville is your local marketplace. Ottavola offers diverse menu selections, casual lunches, and family meals ready to go. At Ottavola, they specialize in the creative use of fresh ingredients, seasonal menu selections, and fun culinary creations from the kitchen that will satisfy even the pickiest taste buds. Treat yourself to lunch or dinner today at Ottavola, and make sure to join them the second Wednesday of every month for their free wine tastings. Ottavola, Red Banks Road in Greenville.
To the show that really makes you think.
He is a genius.
He's all powerful.
He brought a kind of heat.
He could be the best.
Just don't hurt yourself, okay? More news and views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. Tom and Benny with you. Political Trivia Thursday. Your category, we'll play in a little bit. Not yet. Don't call yet. Category is the burial of a president. And by the way, we've got a new sponsor on Political Trivia. Your chance to win amongst a bunch of other things a concealed carry class from Randy Seiler down in New Bern. So part of the ever-growing package. Taking a look at your weather forecast, showers, heavy rains tonight, low around 73. Chance of precip, 100%. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're probably getting rained on. Chance of new rainfall amounts tonight between 2 and 3 inches. I hope we need the rain because we're going to get a lot of it. Tomorrow, showers and possibly a thunderstorm before 1 o'clock. Then showers and thunderstorms after 1 o'clock. Why don't you just say showers and thunderstorms all day? Chance of precip, 80%. High tomorrow is going to be near 75. Friday night, more rain, but it decreases late Friday night. Wind gusts will come in, and the rain will disappear. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a high around 68. Sunday is the day to be outside, partly sunny, a high near 68. It's probably going to be a little muddy out, but that'll be your day to get outside. Weather brought to you by our friends at the Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Got a big event coming up this year, celebrated at Ironwood. The plantation-style clubhouse is looking better than ever. There's all kinds of party spaces for you to have your big event, whether it's an event for a dozen people or 120 people. Ironwood can take care of everything. So if it's a wedding, a birthday, an anniversary, a baby reveal party, business celebration, a holiday party, they'll take care of everything. Ironwood offers several private party spaces leading out to terraces with beautiful views of the Lee Trevino Signature Golf Course. Make your celebration one to remember at one of the most beautiful venues in eastern North Carolina. Contact Taylor Hensel. She's the banquet manager over there. Her number is 252-752-4653, or email Taylor at foodandbeverage@ironwoodgolf.com. The Daily Wire is reporting, along with a bunch of other media outlets, that apparently someone has gotten some polling data up at Nancy Pelosi's office. Nancy Pelosi, this is cut two, Clark. Nancy Pelosi has finally started condemning the rioting. She didn't name Black Lives Matter and Antifa by name, but after months of destructive and costly riots, she's finally confessing up.
We support peaceful demonstrations. We participate in them. They are part of the essence of our democracy. That does not include looting, starting fires, or rioting. They should be prosecuted. That is lawlessness. I'm very proud that Joe Biden has presented the clarity of that, making a distinction that I don't think our colleagues quite understand, but the American people do. And a poll released today said that the American people support congressional Democrats over President Trump in terms of dealing with the issue of crime in our country.
What the heck? I'm not going to use the word that I want to use, but what the heck is she talking about? I mean, these people just come up and they just make anything up. And the polling has come out and everybody wants us to run the country, and they really think that the Democrats are in charge of law and order. I talked about this yesterday. This is not, it's 180 degrees away from the actual truth. Yesterday I talked about this. A new poll from Rasmussen suggests that riot zone voters, those who live in and around areas affected by recent looting and destruction, favor President Trump's approach of handling the unrest by a margin of 2-1. It's not, he's got a 5% advantage. It's 2-1. The Washington Examiner reports that the poll, which the Daily Wire pointed out yesterday, also has Trump leading for the first time, shows that 63% of voters who have seen violent protests in their community strongly approve of the president. Just 35% don't. Basically 2-1. The survey is the latest showing Trump winning the law and order vote as the country sees violence from the protests expand from big cities to smaller communities such as Lancaster, Pennsylvania over the weekend. I know she's not all there, as Joe is not all there. They can maybe get a double wide in the home or something, but just make it up.
Now, when she said this, was this before or after cocktail hour for her? She's,
What time does it start?
yeah, I think she's a 3-martini lunch person, I think. But for 90 days at least, the Democrats have been silent about all this.
Yeah.
You said Jerry Nadler, said it was a myth. Why Minneapolis was burned down, Portland was burning, and I believe Pelosi. She said, "What was it? People are going to do what they do." I think that's what she said about the
they'll
rioting.
do what they do. Yeah, just let them do it. They're going to do what they do. And give them, and the Democrat mayor in Baltimore got to give them space to riot.
I just had my hair washed.
No, that's right. Was that before or after the martini? Axios came out with a story today reporting that the last 3 months of riots have cost insurance companies between $1 and $2 billion in damages. $1 and $2 billion. It's unclear whether that estimate also includes things like lost businesses, bankruptcies, forced moving expenses. I mean, that's basically just the damage from burning places to the ground. $1 to $2 billion, which is obviously that's a pretty wide berth there. 1 billion versus 2 billion. But nevertheless, when Axios reported on this, they said, reading from their article, the protests that took place in the 140 U.S. cities this spring, I mean, they started in the spring, they've been going on all summer, were mostly peaceful. I mean, so this is record-setting. The fact that this is the highest amount for a riot in the history of our country, between 1 and 2 billion, but it was mostly peaceful.
Yeah, I saw it was I think it was CNN that had something that 93% were peaceful. But what does that number mean? I mean, if someone comes to your business and having a peaceful protest and 99% of them are peaceful, but one of them burns down your business, who cares about the 99%?
Well, it's or maybe a better example is if someone comes into your business and he is there for 100 minutes, and in the last 4 minutes he's there, he robs you and shoots you. Are you going to say, well, he was here, and for 96% of the time he was here, it was mostly peaceful?
Yeah.
I mean, that's exact. I mean, it's just like, so what? They're trying to put the best spin on it they can. 561-8255. We have Marty on the line. Hey, Marty.
Hey, Tom. How are you today?
Doing well. Good to hear from you.
Just great talking to you. Hey, I just thought I'd let you know that's that Tito's talking to her. That vodka. They say if you finish the bottle, it'll make you see visions. So evidently that's what she's doing. She's having an apparition.
Probably so. Remember when she got the Air Force, the first time she was Speaker of the House, she got the Air Force to fly her and sometimes her family members back and forth from California to Washington, D.C. I mean, every weekend she'd have her own private Learjet, it was an Air Force jet. And I can't remember what the number was, but they said over a period of a year, the tens of thousands of dollars that were spent on stashing liquor in that plane for her trips back and forth. I mean, it was in the tens of. I can't remember what that, but the number was astronomical.
It was. I remember putting like a number on it per trip. I don't remember, but it was astonishing.
And of course, it wasn't Boone's Farm. It was Member's Mark or whatever the most expensive is. Yeah, unbelievable. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the
have a go.
Appreciate the explanation for Queen Nancy's behavior. The Pew Research has come out. Now, this is probably one of the reasons why Nancy came out today and started condemning the riots. And again, she didn't mention Black Lives Matter or Antifa by name. But Pew Research came out. Fox News reported on it. Daily Wire reported on it. Support for Black Lives Matter movement has dropped more than 10 points since midsummer, which is midsummer, 1st of August, midsummer, end of July. Voters now qualify the unrest in places like Kenosha, Wisconsin, as riots and not protests. once again, does this surprise anybody? I mean, oh, they were a peaceful protest. At the height of the summer, when anti-racism and anti-police brutality protests were happening in almost every major city, this is out of the Daily Wire, support for Black Lives Matter movement was at an all-time high of 67% per Pew Research. As radical justice protests have intensified following the shooting of Jacob Blake, public support for Black Lives Matter movement has declined. A majority of U.S. adults, 55%, now express at least some support for the movement, down from 67% in June. The share who say they strongly support the movement now stands at 29%, down from 38% 3 months ago. The decline isn't just among white adults. Pew notes that Hispanics contacted for the poll also expressed waning support for the movement. The recent decline in the support for Black Lives Matter movement is particularly notable amongst white and Hispanic adults. In June, a majority of white adults, 60%, say they support the movement at least somewhat. Fewer than 45% express at least some support. The share of Hispanic adults who support the movement has decreased 11 percentage points from 77% to 66%. Most voters consider the unrest in the U.S. cities stemming from Black Lives Matter demonstrations to be riots rather than the protest. Bingo. Yeah, and again, what's interesting about this, when you see the protesters, I mean, it's interesting that they don't really mention African-American black support for Black Lives Matter in this. I'm fully convinced that the numbers of the blacks, this is just an observation. Okay, I have no empirical evidence for this. But my hunch is that there's more white support on a percentage basis for Black Lives Matter than there is black support for Black Lives Matter on a percentage basis.
Well, you know, I know a lot of people that have talked to me about, well, you know, I support Black Lives Matter. And I said, well, you support what they stand for. And they've never been to their website. Now, you know, they tell me, well, you're just, you know, you're just talking about right-wing stuff you've seen on television. I said, no, this is on their website. Go read their website, what they stand for, and tell me what you think about them then. And, you know, maybe America's waking up to it. But, you know, as much destruction there's been around the country, it's time for somebody to wake up. 90 days of this.
In Minneapolis, residents are now pleading with city officials to tour their neighborhoods. Local Minneapolis news outlet WCCO went into neighborhoods directly affected by the recent uptick in gun violence. Locals feel like they've been abandoned by the city council. Well, you have. What did you think was going to happen when you defunded the police, you bunch of morons? Honestly, I really haven't been sleeping at night. I really can't. I hear every little thing that's going on. Police sirens, helicopters, the gun shooting, said Lisa Cruz. That's what she told the radio station. You're sleeping and all of a sudden you feel like you're in a war zone. I have 4 children and I'll have them all sleep in my room because I'm scared, I'm terrified something's going to happen to them. Cruz suggested that Minneapolis City Council has all but ignored the problem and that none of the council members, including those who are pressing for Minneapolis to scrap its current law enforcement plan and reroute funds dedicated to crime control to more community-oriented projects. Nobody sees what we've been living. Nobody feels what we've been feeling because they're not here. So they're begging the city council, would you please come down here and see what's going on? I mean, what the heck? Again, I use the word heck. What the heck are you thinking? Again, when this happened, when they were first debating this, we said on this program, guys, this is going to be anarchy. This is going to be mayhem. How can you run a major metropolitan area in the United States and not have police? What's really interesting, though, is there was just yesterday, Newt Gingrich was on Fox News. I can find this story.
Yeah.
And Newt Gingrich put his finger right on it when he said the problem is that George Soros was paying for all these individuals to run Democrat-run cities, and he said, well, let me go. Let Newt say it for yourself. This is what Newt Gingrich said yesterday, but listen to the awkwardness as he points the finger to George Soros. And one individual who's a Fox News host said, well, we don't need to bring George into this. And then Maria Harf, who worked in the Obama administration, she chimed in and was like, yeah, don't bring George into this.
And every one of those businesses is a family, is a face, is a person who is now struggling and has no way to support their family. That's who I want to see in this hearing. I want America to see the faces of these people whose lives have been destroyed by this violence.
Yeah, it's so true. They represent everybody, right? Speaker Gingrich, I know you have a final thought for us.
Yeah, look, the number one problem in almost all these cities is George Soros elected left-wing, anti-police, pro-criminal district attorneys who refuse to keep people locked up. Just yesterday, they put somebody back on the street who's wanted for 2 different murders in New York City. You cannot solve this problem, and both Harris and Biden have talked very proudly about what they call progressive district attorneys. Progressive district attorneys are anti-police, pro-criminal, and overwhelmingly elected with George Soros's money, and they're a major cause of the violence we're seeing because they keep putting the violent criminals back on the street.
I'm not sure we need to bring George Soros into this.
I was going to say you get the last word, Speaker.
He paid for it. I mean, why can't we discuss the fact that millions of dollars he spent?
I agree with Melissa. George Soros doesn't need to be a part of this conversation.
Okay. So it's verboten.
All right, we're going to... Okay, we're going to move on.
Yeah, awkward.
Wow.
So that was Melissa Francis, who's on the Fox Business, and Maria Harf. I don't know if Marie does anything with Fox on a regular basis or not, but again, she was part of the Obama administration. She's as liberal as they come. So he's saying, well, here's the problem, and he is correct on this. I don't know why they pushed him back, except for the fact that I don't think they know what they're talking about. But just go back and look at the records, and we talked about this in 2018 when it was happening. Soros became involved in a bunch of local races for district attorney. He did it in Northern California. Soros-backed prosecutors have played a large role in several national controversies. One of them is Kim Foxx, Jesse Smollett. Another is Kim Gardner in St. Louis, prosecutor who charged the McCloskeys. They were the folks that protected their property with guns, and she charged them for doing that, for defending their home. Diana Becton, who recently charged a California couple with a hate crime for painting over a Black Lives Matter mural on the public road. Most notably is the $1.45 million Soros donated to Philadelphia's current district attorney, Larry Krasner. During his campaign, he made statements like, policing and prosecution are both systemically racist. He also called poverty and crime consequences of mass incarceration. Krasner described himself as having a steadfast commitment to social justice. He offered his services for free to groups such as Black Lives Matter, DACA Dreamers, Occupy Philly, among others. During his first week in office, Krasner fired over 30 prosecutors in order to push his social justice warrior agenda in the city. This resulted in the delay of many cases to include murder trials because there's no one available to work them. Not surprisingly, violent crime is up in Philadelphia. Wow. And this is George Soros. I mean, I remember when this story broke. George Soros was financing all kinds of liberal district attorneys all across the country. And and they didn't all win, but a bunch of them did. And here you are 2 years later, and you're wondering why we have criminals getting out, no bail posted. It's unbelievable.
That was a very awkward moment in that Fox segment there. I mean, what was going on in the control room? I mean, I'm almost afraid to say George Soros. Is it okay to say George Soros?
Apparently
here?
not. Well, you know, as a sidebar, they're saying, oh, that's anti-Semitic. Because George Soros, I mean, it's not anti-Semitic if you're pointing out what he's doing politically. Stay with it. Hey, let's do this. Let's play political trivia, shall we? 561-8255. Let's light up the phone lines. I've got a great prize package. I don't know what it's worth now. More than a couple of $100 though. Your category, the burial of a president. We'll play when we get back.
In this election, the health and financial security of Americans 50 plus are on the line. From preventing cuts to Social Security to protecting Medicare to lowering prescription drug prices, you deserve to cast your vote on the issues that matter to you. And AARP is here to help. We're working to make sure your voice is heard. And this year, that means voting early and voting safely. Know all your voting options, in person, from home, or absentee. And if you're not voting in person, be sure to request and return your ballot early. Everyone from working parents to family caregivers to seniors in nursing homes should be able to vote safely. So don't wait. Visit us at aarp.org/ncvotes and find out how to vote early. You deserve the peace of mind that comes with voting safely and knowing your vote will count. Learn how AARP North Carolina is fighting to protect voters 50 plus. Visit aarp.org/ncvotes today. Paid for by AARP.
Summer means sun and fun, and Bertie County peanuts are a summertime family favorite. Small batch, hand-cooked, and 100% guaranteed, Bertie County peanuts are perfect at the beach, on the river, or sitting on the front porch watching the day go by. Order online at bertiecountypeanuts.net, give them a call at 800-457-0005, or drop by and taste the tradition at Powell & Stokes in Windsor. Bertie County Peanuts, North Carolina's best summertime snack.
GoEco is the office equipment company that people all over eastern North Carolina are turning to for their office copier and equipment needs. GoEco sells and services Canon copiers and office products. They have a great service team that's quick to respond when you need them. We here at Interbanks Media just made the switch to GoEco, and they're saving us money in printing costs. Other businesses in and around Greenville are making the switch too. Dirk's Chiropractic switched over a year ago and saved money. GoEco bought out their existing lease, and Dirk's Chiropractic received better products fitting their needs. In fact, GoEco has saved local clients who have switched over $178,000. Oh, and some businesses might qualify for no payments until 2021. Call Area Sales Director Tom Watkins at GoEco for a free consultation today. 252-227-0581 or email info@goeconc.com. Save money by switching to GoEco.
Want glowing, healthy skin? Contact Shannon Chappell at the Skin Center of Greenville. With over 18 years experience in the beauty and skincare industry, Shannon specializes in teen and young adult acne treatments, facials, light therapy, customized peels, and offers virtual and in-office beauty and wellness consultations. The Skin Center of Greenville, 3701 Charles Boulevard, Suite 108. On the web at theskincenterskincare.com or by calling 347-1329. The Skin Center of Greenville. Your skincare journey begins here.
All right, welcome back in. It is Political Trivia. Your category today, the burial of a president. Your prize package includes a free oil change for your car or pickup at Dave Davis's East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep or at Washington Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. A gift certificate from Fit for Life 24, including 2 free training sessions with a fitness coach. A $20 gift card to the Pirates Cove Car Wash, a proud partner of the ECU Courtesy Car Program. A $60 diagnostic card from University PC Care for any iPhone or PC repair. A gift card for a free round of golf with Cart at Ironwood. A $20 gift card to Mucho Bueno for lunch or dinner. Mucho Bueno, real Mexican street food located in front of the Westbrook Shopping Center, US 70 West in Havelock. A $20 gift card to Gwendy's Goodies Bakery in Aden, delicious baked fresh daily goodies. And new today, we've got a new sponsor, Randy Seiler and Responsible Security. It's a certificate for your choice of a free gun safety or concealed carry class from Randy, who's the owner instructor at Responsible Security in New Bern. Remember, if you or anyone in your family has won recently, let 60 days pass before you play again. First up from Beaufort, it's Bill. Hey, Bill.
How you doing?
Phil. Is it Phil?
It's
Okay.
Phil.
Phil. All right, Phil. Sorry, a little communication issue with my producer here. Phil, you ready to play?
Sure am, Tom.
Short question. Perhaps you'll know it. What was unusual and unique about the way President Andrew Johnson was buried?
He was buried face down. I don't know.
that would be unusual, and but that's not it. But good guess. Thanks, Phil. 5618255. Let's go to Greenville. We have Thomas on the line. Hey, Thomas.
Yes.
What do you think? What was unusual and unique about the way President Andrew Johnson was buried?
They didn't use a casket.
That's not it. 5618255. Maybe it's time for a hint. Let's go to Betty in Greenville. Hey, Betty. Betty, listen to your. Don't listen to your radio. Listen to your phone. Hey, Betty, you're with us?
Yes.
There you are. What was unusual and unique about the way President Andrew Johnson was buried? I'm going to give you a hint.
Okay.
The way he was buried reflected how he lived.
He was standing upright?
He was well, that would take up less room. You have to dig the hole a little deeper. That's good guess. Not it. 5618255. Let's go to Joe in Greenville. Hey, Joe.
How's it going?
Going well. What do you think? What was unusual and unique about the way President Andrew Johnson was buried? Hint number one, the way he was buried reflected how he lived. Hint number two, he requested this unique way of being buried.
Is it wrapped in American flag?
That is it. There was more to it. I'm going to give it to you, but there was something else that he had.
With the Bill of Rights?
It was the Constitution. The Constitution was his pillow, and he was wrapped in the United States flag. He was once quoted as saying, "I desire no better winding sheet than the Stars and Stripes and no better pillow than the Constitution." And that's how they buried him. Congratulations, Joe. Calling from Greenville, is that right?
Yes.
All right, hang on the line. You're our winner. Clark's going to get all your info. We've got a bunch of goodies. Thanks, everybody, for calling. Benny and I'll be right back.
It's summertime here at East Carolina Chrysler Jeep.
Come check out our huge selection of Ram trucks.
East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep has huge savings on 2020 Ram trucks during Ram Power Days. Save up to $10,000 off MSRP or get 0% financing for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. It's Jeep Adventure Days at East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep. Did you know that the Jeep Grand Cherokee is the most awarded SUV ever? Save up to $8,000 off MSRP on 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokees or get 0% financing for 84 months on Jeep Cherokee, Compass, and Renegade, and no payments for 90 days. We are East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep, serving customers and community for over 37 years.
East Carolina Chrysler Jeep.
Across from the Cracker Barrel in Greenville.
Come see us. Come see us.
Customer must qualify for all rebates. See dealer for details. Need to insure a boat in Edenton, a business in Elizabeth City, a car in Greenville? How about a farm truck in Columbia or a home on the Outer Banks? Weatherly Insurance Agency, an independent insurance agency with 5 locations in eastern North Carolina, is here to help. Weatherly Insurance Agency has agents you can get to know because they're your neighbors and live in your town. Call today, 888-OBX-2-IBX, or on the web at weatherlyinsurance.com. From the Outer Banks to the Inner Banks, Weatherly Insurance has you covered.
It takes a great plan to build the perfect kitchen or bathroom. And with over 35 years of experience, Noble Brothers Cabinets and Millwork is here to provide the best of the best for their customers. For turnkey, hassle-free kitchen and bathroom remodels from the best installers and craftsmanship available, visit their Facebook page. On the web at noblebroscabinets.com or call 252-482-9100 to schedule an appointment. With Noble Brothers Cabinets and Millwork, if you can imagine it, they can build it.
Need $1,000 to $10,000 immediately for a gift for someone special, car repairs, or unexpected expenses? Time Financing Service offers competitive loan rates. Apply online and get your answer in less than an hour in most cases. Then you can pick up the cash at any of our 24 convenient locations. Apply online 24/7 at timefinancing.com. That's timefinancing.com.
We're putting the money on you. Time Financing Service.
The Wash House Laundromats is a family-owned and operated business serving North Carolina for over 50 years. Our motto is clean clothes fast. Most locations open 24/7. We have the largest washers, hottest dryers, and save you time with friendly staff and upfront parking. We can handle any size load. Hotels, motels, gyms, hair salons, and other businesses love using the Wash House Laundromats. Thank you to all our patrons, the wonderful communities we serve, and our amazing team members. God bless you, and God bless America.
Back to news and views. Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Congratulations, Joe Harvey of Greenville. He got our political trivia correct. Andrew Johnson wanted to be buried in the United States flag, wrapped in that, and the Constitution was the pillow for his head. Got what he requested. The situation up in Michigan is mind-boggling. They've printed up the ballots to be sent out to military who are from Michigan. How do you do this? How do you print up a ballot to be mailed out? And some 400 of the ballots have already gone out. And for Donald Trump, they don't have the vice president as Mike Pence. They've got the ballot saying Donald Trump's running mate is some guy named Jeremy Cohen. Cohen's running as the vice president for the Libertarian ticket. I'm sorry. It's mind-boggling that you could be that incompetent. But the question is it incompetence or is it deliberate? Jocelyn Benson, who has endorsed Joe Biden, she spoke at the DNC convention this year. She had made the apparent error. Oops, I'm sorry. Oh, I got caught, so I got to say I'm sorry. This is unbelievable that you would do this. And nobody would double check? My gosh, you're printing up the ballots and nobody would double check?
I mean, you could understand maybe if it was sort of the clerk of court race in Michigan or something in some town, but the president of the United States.
President of the United States.
You got one job.
And the woman that oversaw this spoke at the DNC. She endorsed Joe Biden. Joe and Biden endorsed her when she was running. But it was just a mistake. Oops. You're fired. I'm sorry. Hey, I said I'm sorry. Unbelievable. Congratulations, Joe Harvey. Thanks for being with us. We'll do it again tomorrow. Oh, by the way, Hogan